Greetings. This is Arvette McLean with Speak, The Universe Listens. New ways to view age-old challenges. Change your thoughts, change your life. Step into the bigness of you.
Hey y'all.
Hey.
So I can't even remember what somebody just said, but it has something to do with like when you have a goal, you complete your goal, then you have to have another goal, right? Like, but the way they had put it, it was kind of like that's the goal. The goal is to complete your goal so you can have another goal. And so I was thinking, like, I don't think that's the goal. I don't know. So, but basically, what they were saying, it just led me to feel like we're always in pursuit of something. We're always chasing something or whatever. What's your next? What's your next? What's your next? And, you know, I've been there. You know, like I was a goal setter. Like I set goals, I completed goals, I set more goals. Like that was how I ran my life. Like that's how I thought you were supposed to run your life. But what I realized is when you're always trying to get the next, it's because you're not fulfilled where you are. And so the goal, I think, would be to be fulfilled where you are. And I think when we're setting goals, sometimes we are listening to like our higher self. Like I feel like our deepest dreams and desires were kind of placed in us. Like we want those things because it's for our expansion. It's our dream wants us just as much as we want it, so to speak. But sometimes I think we are chasing goals because that's what society says we should do or have or be, and so we set goals in line with that. So the question that I guess I want to put forward is, what would you all say is the difference between expansion and goal setting and accomplishing your goals?
That's a good question. I would say expansion, I feel as though there is no limitation on expansion because you're constantly, expanding. Setting a goal, to me, in my eyes, is just more of you're setting a limit on something. Then after it's done, what's the next limit gonna be that you're gonna set? So that's how I sort of see it.
I can agree and pick it back off you. I feel like expansion is more so I'm moving how I feel. Like if I feel passionate about this right now, then that's, instead of like, all right, I'm gonna get this done and that's gonna be the goal, and then the next goal is to get what's further beyond that done. You know what I mean? When expansion, I can just go as high as I want. Period.
Yeah, and I think I'm kind of aligned with both of them. It's like expansion for me. When I hear expansion, I think of this is the growth of me. But like goal setting is, I think of goal setting as something exterior of me. Like whatever is being accomplished or whatever is happening isn't me doing it. But like in expansion, I think of like, no, this is me developing into the next thing. So I think that's the difference for me.
Yeah, I like what all y'all said. And like a lot of people tell me that I set my goals and I accomplish them. So if you had told the me 20 years ago, then that's true. But now that's not true. And so like so many of the things that I do, it was never a goal of mine. You know, like with all these children's books and cartoons, and I was never like, oh, I'm gonna write a children's book. You know, it just happened. And it's like so many things have just happened in my life that I didn't plan for. So I didn't even know I was going in that direction. Like when I wrote the book, first of all, I didn't even know I was going to write the book, When Black Women Speak. And then when I did write it, I was just writing it just to write it, you know. And then my wonderful nephew is like, no, this needs to be heard. This, you know, you need to get this out there. And so it just took this whole life of its own. And I mean, we've been doing this podcast now for like, 6 years or so. From
It wasn't a goal.
Yeah.
right, it was never a goal, and it took a life of its own. And had I set a goal, who knows? I don't know what would have happened had I set a goal, but I doubt we would have been sitting here today doing this. And you know, the same with the books and the cartoon and probably other things that it's not coming to the top of my head right now. But there's been so many things in my life that I just never planned for. It just happened, and it came from me really just changing how I radiate. Because for so much of my life, and I can't even say that anymore, because as I get older, I'm spending more years in with my light turned on. Where before, like my younger life, I was just always scared of everything, just living really in a state of fear, afraid to make a mistake, afraid that I wasn't good enough, not in love with myself, not feeling worthy, etc. But then when I flipped the script, then my whole life changed. So it wasn't like anything outside of me changed. I changed, and then the outside changed.
Yeah, and I like this topic a lot too, because actually, when I was doing all the job interviews, the question that I used to enjoy answering the most was, what are your goals, or like, what do you see yourself like in this amount of time or that amount of time? Because at the time I was doing these interviews, which was like a few months ago, like I was in such a I had already expanded to a higher place. So now when you ask me like, what are your goals? I'm like, well, that's kind of tough, because I don't really set them, but like things happen, and then I just start telling stories about like the things in my life, and it's like, but like there was no goal set on it. It was just all accomplished, and like I felt like the minute we started giving goals to things was the minute, like we said all here all day already, was the minute I started setting goals was the minute I started limiting what could happen, and that's just I can't live a life of limits.
I think about expansion. I think about when I started Words of Wisdom. I did not have no set goal on what I was going to do with Words of Wisdom. It was just something that I like to do, and give others some insight on ways to grow in their life. And years later, it's like the expansion of it now is more of just by me not putting no limitation on it. How can I describe the feeling, man? It's a feeling of I have space to enjoy doing something that I like to do. Mm-hmm. I feel like when you got a goal, you don't really, it's not really joy, because you feel like it's an obligation that you got to make sure you do it, because you said you was gonna do it. Then you want to prove to everybody I done my goal, I completed what I said I was gonna do. Versus with expansion is it can happen from anything, anywhere, and it's more so for you, because I feel like goals, you just not doing it for you, you're doing it for everybody else, and including yourself. Don't get me wrong, including yourself, but That's how I see it.
Yes, and I feel like for me, when I was like goal driven, like it's an unnecessary pressure that I know for me I was putting on myself. Like you said, it's like I gotta set a goal. Then if I tell all y'all my goal, then I gotta prove y'all that I can do the goal. You know, it's just it isn't as enjoyable as just something moving me to write a children's book. You know what I'm saying? You're right. Or you know, like you were saying, it's not as enjoyable when it's a goal. When it's a goal, and I gotta do this, and I'm not even appreciating the process of it all, or you know, the moment of it all. I'm not even appreciating. I'm just like, all right, I finished this goal now. What's the goal next that's connected to this goal? Like, you know, it's just, all right, now let me get to the next level. You know, instead of, hey, that was a great journey that I went through to get the, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm not very goal, because it's just not as enjoyable for me.
Then I learned that when you are expanding, you learn so many things about yourself that you never even knew, because you're doing new things. You know, like you said, you out of nowhere, you want to write a children's book. You know, me out of nowhere, I just want to start fasting just for my health reasons. You know, I mean, and I do it. You know, because it's not no pressure, no obligation to doing it. So I think if people really just, you know, start to get in the mindset of expanding more so than, you know, the goal driven, I think you'll start to see more growth in your life while you're leveling up.
And you know, I think for me, another problem, I don't want to say it's a problem, but a thing about having a goal is that you kind of trying to it's like you not, basically what I'm saying, you're trying to know the exact answers to how to get the goal. So it's like you're not just moving freely and things appear because this is what you wanted. But when you got a goal, it's like, all right, this is what I want, and it's the goal, but now I got to do X, Y, and Z to get to this goal. But when you just expanding and you're moving from how you feel, things just come together, and it's not, I got to know how to get to this point. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense. And I'm going to say that if I had to work with someone like Teron when I was in the working world, I'd have killed you.
Hey, what is this?
He's like, good God.
You know, all this drinking tea and dancing and, you know what I'm saying? Like, that just would not have cut it. Like, you'd have been fired so fast. You'd have been fired. As a matter of fact, even as late as when we started this podcast, I wanted to fire you so many times.
Like, go. Go. Like, what is
volunteer. But what I've learned, and partly from him, but partly, you know, just in the world, is when you have that free energy, when that energy, you allow that energy to move through you, you get these hits. Like, you know, like, to me, I might look at somebody like him like he's not doing anything. Like, I'm here working and he out there taking a walk. You know, he's dancing and bebopping or whatever. But then he's out there getting these wonderful ideals that's just flowing to him. And then he can just implement stuff without having to think. You know, it's almost like he walking around with a silver spoon in his mouth. You know, like, haven't you seen those people where it seems like everything go their way and they ain't even do their part? Like, you ain't do. I'm the one that's sitting here working hard. Why are you getting all the? But it's like a free energy, and that energy when basically when you're in a state of joy, then like the particles of creation, everything that's around you is in a state of joy. Like you're attracting other joyful things to you or whatever. And so that's why those people get all the good stuff. That's why all them women bring value everything right there at your time. No, seriously, but you know, like Stephen always, it's like people always, you know, person in line in front of him is gonna buy his stuff or whatever. But it's like when you're out there and you enjoy, you just attract that. And I remember when I first like shifted from, I mean, I didn't shift all the way, but it was a huge shift from where I was, like, because, you know, like I always say, I used to work 24/7, like around the clock, and I was just sad and miserable and unhappy. And then I went away to this beautiful island, and and then I don't know, I just changed. The island, it changed me, just watching the water, and it just, everything about it just changed who I was. It changed how I vibrated. Even I didn't have the, like now I can kind of articulate things, mostly because I try to figure things out. You know, that's one of the habits I have. It's like, okay, this happened and this happened, but why? But back then, I just knew everything had changed. Like, so when I remember coming back to the United States, and everything I touched turned to gold. I would win I don't care what kind of contest was going on. If I was in the room, I was going to win. You know, like I remember during that time, this was like 2008-ish or something when I got back to Richmond. And I remember going to my girlfriend, she loves U2. So we went to a U2 concert, and somebody just literally grabbed my arm like this and started pulling me. So I grabbed my girlfriend's arm, and they pulled us into the inner ring so that we're like right here with U2. And then the same thing happened. So Obama was at the Coliseum, right? And so when we got there, the lines were just super long to go see Obama. So I walked around the Coliseum. I don't know why. So I walked around the Coliseum. There was a door. Nobody was at that door. Yeah. So I said, people at all the doors except for this door. Why not? So I'm like, we should stand at this door. But of course, the people who were with me were like, well, ain't nobody at this door. So why would we stand at this door? But I was like, we should stand at this door. And so I go to the door, and they kind of begrudgingly follow me. They open the door, pull us into the front row with Obama. We all on national TV. You know, but it was just like so many things like that would just happen. I'm like, wow, but it was really just a change in my energy. Right. And then it's like all these wonderful things would just happen.
I said, like, even when I changed my thought process about what you, like, piggyback off of what you're saying, I noticed I've seen a lot of opportunities thrown my way. And I noticed that when they were thrown my way, by it being something new and I ain't never experienced nothing like it, I was so quick to sit back and turn my light off, because I'm like, it's something I ain't used to. Something ain't right here. I don't deserve this. And then I had to sort of remind myself, like, shut up, Steve. Cut your light on. like, cut your light on, man. See your opportunities and, you know, soak it in.
Oh, 24 minutes left.
Oh, I'm so rich. I didn't even know. I thought
you figure something?
Yeah, okay. All right.
all right.
Okay, all right.
And I know it. Oh, I'm sorry. I know it sounds like we just kind of talking randomly, but really, like, just the whole concept of expansion, When I think of expansion, I think of it's opposite, contraction. So like if you think of like when you're stressed, you know, when you're in fear, when you're feeling lack, like you don't have and you gotta do, like you know your body, you can feel it contracting. And if you think about like some of the health issues, like heart attacks and stuff, it's like your blood is being constricted. So that it's that contraction is what those energies do. Like you're not in a state of expansion. So like I guess y'all were kind of explaining, like setting goals, it has its own pressure to it. And so I'm not gonna say completing your goals does not allow you to expand. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying that when you do have your goals, try to be in a state of joy. That's the part that we miss. We miss the joy part. And ideally, just if you're just coming from a space of love, joy, peace, you're going to be in alignment. And so your goals are going to come from, you know, your higher stuff, from your spirit, from your inner knowing, versus setting goals from what society kind of tells you you should do, so to speak. And so again, contraction, it's like a shutting down, and we want to be in a state of expansion. And the more we're in joy, love, peace, those types of vibrations, appreciation, the more we'll attract the things, and we don't have to go out and work for them and try to pull it in. It'll just come to you. So thank y'all.
Thank you.
I feel like I did all the talking on this one, but I'm still glad we had this conversation, and I hope you guys can take something away from it, and we look forward to chatting with you soon. Until then, this is Arvette.
And this is Steve.
Teron.
Rodney.
Bye, y'all.